Welcome back to PlayStation Corner. My name is Alex and today we're taking a look at Aliens Fireteam Elite on the PlayStation 5. It's the latest release with the Aliens name attached, but can this one reach the heights of, let's say, Alien Isolation? Or is this just another movie tie-in you're better off skipping? Well, first of all, thank you to Focus Interactive for the review copy today, and with that, hit subscribe, join our growing PlayStation family, and let's get started. It's a story, and honestly it's very light stuff. It's more an excuse to blast away Xenomorphs than really adding anything at all to the lore of the world. Its sights are set on nostalgia and, small winks to the movies of the same name and its prequels. Story-wise though, it's setting itself 23 years after the events of Alien 3, and you are part of the Marine Corps aboard the UAS Endeavour. Your job, basically get out into this world and blast away Xenomorphs in outbreak scenarios. This isn't a world where you're running away from them either. This is a world where it's more headfirst into them. The story has this kind of overarching theme of containing outbreaks in what is a Weyland lab, but it's broken down into 4 separate story campaigns I don't want to give too much away from, but it's a nice little selection of locations, and you can expect everything from, or at least the opening of the game, to be saving a scientist or exploring caves with a particularly Prometheus vibe. As I say, do not expect it to go for much other than your nostalgia, but I was okay with that, and I think it at least respected the source material. So gameplay, and what we have here is a squad-based third-person shooter. You will be in a squad of 3 that can either be friends or with AI friendlies. To get the big question out the way first, there is no crossplay here, so do expect to all be playing on the same platform. The game's design, it gives me vibes of Gears of War in its control scheme, almost then meets Left 4 Dead in its design of short story-based moments, and it's really simply out to overwhelm you, and I promise you the game will do just that. It has 20 enemy types in here though, 11 of which are Xenomorphs, and they absolutely demonstrate their power in numbers, from the smallest to the largest of the universe. It's a game that's absolutely not scary. There's no real jump scares in here, but that doesn't stop them from getting the intimidation factor across, because if you get stuck with one or multiple, they'll quickly make you regret it. Character wise then, booting up, you'll be greeted with a basic character creator, which again, it does enough, giving you some choice over their looks. This is of course all cosmetic though. It's when you get into game though that it allows you to really shape them by choosing from one of 5 classes. That's going to be Gunner, Demolisher, Technician, Doc and Recon. Now as you progress in game, then you'll be able to apply what are perks that modify and improve your abilities. You'll get to mess with a selection of weapons, though honestly I kind of stuck with the core set because they were just like kind of badass. You'll get attachments, and you even get special abilities, my favourite being a shoulder rocket launcher, and then you can also overclock your weapon. With both of these specials though, they are on a cooldown, so do use them wisely. It's also worth knowing as well here, just quickly, some minor use of the DualSense trigger pressure in game as well. Nothing groundbreaking, but it's still a nice add for immersion. Some replayability factors with this one to mention as well. It has a card system that you can attach going into each mission. These can help you with, let's say, no reward, like double your ammo, or maybe reduce your health and test your skills out for some sort of incentive. It also then has 5 difficulty options, daily and weekly challenges. It's kind of, as I said, leaning almost into that Left 4 Dead vibe, asking you to keep coming back, and then even on completion of the story, you'll unlock what is a horde mode. I was honestly really impressed, but it also still has its issues. The stick to cover and maneuver around it can be a little bit annoying. I had one point, for example, when my entire crew kind of escaped over this single wall. I tried it myself and the game would not allow it. Found myself stuck, found myself pretty much dead immediately. On your crew as well, this one's definitely best played online with real people, because the AI, while it's not awful, I wouldn't call them particularly smart either. In fact, the game's difficulty options doesn't recommend using them above a standard difficulty, so I think even they recognise their inability on the battlefield. The difficulty is interesting too, I've got to say, I'll add this here. By the time you get to insane level, you'll have friendly fire and all sorts, so it's definitely going to be an intense experience. Between missions as well, you'll find yourself aboard the ship. There's a few individuals here to talk to and things to see, but I do think they could have just done maybe a little bit more with it. The only other issue, the missions are fun as I said, but I wish they had gone for maybe a little more variety. Every mission can be described as move from room to room, occasionally stand and hold your ground while, let's say, something in game plays out, like you're trying to access a terminal, and then you'll progress. do that and repeat. That is the entire experience. The source material, it has a ton of creativity in it, and I wish they'd kind of leverage that to do something maybe just a little bit more out of the ordinary. Otherwise though, you're looking at a runtime of around maybe 6 hours or so. The footage today, that's going up to early mission free gameplay because I don't want to spoil anything for anyone out there. It's not a huge game though, so really you can come here happy to part with your cash and do a quick run of it, or maybe you'll find a lot to like in its card systems, multiple difficulties and daily and weekly challenges, and see reason to keep coming back. That's something only you can work out for yourself. I know though in the future free game updates are planned, and hopefully that includes more missions because that would be fantastic to see. So graphically it's impressive, honestly. The locations are varied, they absolutely look the part of the movies, and I liked its willingness to not only focus on the original trilogy, but then build in some Prometheus lore for good measure. My favourite mission in fact was the Caves of Mission 2, it's got some great moments. The lighting throughout the game is particularly impressive, and while the first mission it's mostly corridors, do not be too concerned, it for sure opens up relatively quickly. It's wrapped up then with some great looking xenomorphs and character models. Issues wise, this is absolutely a budget release. Dialogue exchanges pre-mission, they are not lip sync, so that's a little jarring at first. Also, I do get it though, and then some of the animations at times, they can be a little bit wonky and repetitive. For example, a swarm, you may have a moment or two where you actually pick up on the fact every single one is moving along the exact same path. Otherwise again though, look, respectful of the source and a few Easter eggs in here for good measure. Audio finally, and it's real good. The guns sound great, they have this retro vibe that instantly gives you that Aliens feel, and then the music is incredible, composed naturally by someone else, but rather than sounding simply like, you know, a copycat, it sounds up to the standard. That is an impressive feat. It's just enjoyable more than anything because it doesn't play into the doom and gloom kind of tones we would necessarily expect of horror, rather it's going for something that feels much more cinematic. Finally, voice acting, decent quality from your character's minimal lines to your team and the world around you that mostly takes place via comms. So the final verdict, and I've had a lot of fun with this one. It was a little bit shorter than I expected, but I do see reason for myself to go back, and that's mainly because my time with it was spent with AI bots, so I do want to jump online next. Also, I want to start kind of expanding my arsenal, looking into perks, playing with the card system, and just seeing how I handle bumping that difficulty up. Now, if you don't like the formula though of what is basically run and gun essentially, then this one, it won't be for you because the game remains the same from beginning to end. Not a problem in my eyes, but it's also easy to see a few missed opportunities where variety could have made a big difference. You know, it kind of also then plays into the game's real lack of any worthwhile narrative. A good 7 out of 10 from me today then. Seeing a new Aliens game is always kind of nerve-wracking because so often they are, let's face it, weak, but I'm happy to say that's not the case here, and for the most part it's absolutely a tribute to the name, and I think for the most part it's going to be more than enough for fans out there. Just hopefully now we do get more content and we start to build this one out in the future. Will you be adding this one to the library though, or are you holding onto that cash? With that then, like, hit subscribe, join our growing PlayStation family, and I'll see you all on the next video. Thanks everyone.